Initiating hypergate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hypergate activated. The portal to illuminating the collective consciousness has finally opened. Please enter the hypergate now.
Welcome to Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Thursday, it's Thursday, November 4th, 2021. I'm Astrology Dave Palmer, Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, we're at the new moon, and if you're not on HYPERGATE.tv, you're missing out on these daily horoscopes every day. It's good to be here. I always show up on YouTube for my new and full moon reports and for spiritual dance music, which of course will be tonight for this new moon in Scorpio. But if you're not on HYPERGATE.tv, please go check it out. You can find us on iOS, Android, in those stores, HYPERGATE.tv on the app, Apple TV, Roku, or our website, HYPERGATE.tv. I just finished Deep Astrology tonight. I do all my shows on there, and we have awesome talent on there, all doing daily, weekly, so many shows. You're missing out on quite a lot, especially even with spiritual dance music. They're not really liking it on YouTube here anymore. As you can see, the one from 2 weeks ago, I had to cut it out. So anyway, let's take a look and see what's going on with this new moon. There's a lot. This is probably the most intense, awesome, but also kind of creepy new moon I've ever seen. I'm loving it. Not Mick loving it, but I'm loving it. We got this moon that is going to be meeting with the sun here at 12 degrees of Scorpio in exact opposition to Uranus. So I know there's probably a million astrologers out there. Okay, yeah. We're going to go into that. But there's some secrets that we're going to be revealing into this new moon. One, I really want people to kind of understand that this new moon is, yes, it's in direct opposition to Uranus, but it's also in square to the midpoint here of Jupiter and Saturn. So we got Saturn here in Aquarius, and we got Jupiter here in Aquarius. And the midpoint here, you count 22 minus 7, you're getting about, 3 plus 12, 15 degrees, minus that and a half, about 7.5 degrees. So you're getting out about 15 degrees here. So it's a minor square, but it's within 3-degree orb here. And so this is really about our future. This is really about how to not be afraid anymore of expanding into our future. I don't know how well some people are versatile with astrology and so forth, but I think that the main thing to remember here is this. One, you want to remember that this is a very important time for this new moon to come in. This whole year of 2021, especially even kind of going back to the end of 2020, we had Jupiter, Saturn conjunct in Aquarius on December 21st, 2020. We've seen Uranus and Taurus squaring Saturn, and then we had Mars and Venus conjunct in Leo. So Scorpio's been this desolate place. And when you have all this energy in Aquarius, it kind of feels like it's like, it's definitely made us look at the world, calculate the world, but we've been human calculators over-processing and over-calculating our future way too much. Can we all agree on that at least? Thank you. So we've been in over-calculation, okay, which has created stagnation. The last 2.5 months, we've had Mercury in Libra. We've had all this Libra energy. Just within the last month, the last new moon was Libra, and we had 4 planets come direct in it. Stagnation. All of those planets, especially those 4, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, Pluto, those big 3, the Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, stopped, and nothing moved, and then it was in hesitation and weighing everything out and over-calculating. And so this is the life force that is coming back into our life in Scorpio, and really the true powerful energy of Scorpio, because you have to remember, we haven't seen much except Venus that went through Scorpio, and it went by so quick. It was just like in the middle of stagnation time. So, and Venus, of course, is at detriment in Scorpio. We have to remember that. And it was also with Mars and the Sun that was in Libra, which are both fall and detriment. So it's like, we haven't had that edge. We've all been feeling a little bit like AI, or emotionally feeling like there's just something missing. Scorpio is what brings the emotion into its most fixed and most powerful energy of hunger, of drive, of desire and want and need. And it's like, we're all extremely hungry. You know, I know that there's so many energies out there right now in the world and in the news about the shortages and all that stuff. And Christmas or Thanksgiving, you know, might not get your turkey or whatever. Let's be all real. We could all give a fuck. We are all in a moment in our lives where we just want connection. We want feeling. We want that yearning for desire back in our life. And we want to feel alive again. And so, yes, we're in an opposition to Uranus and Taurus. So there is that element of wanting to make these deeper things come into our physical reality, but we're going to have to make huge pivots. We're in a Uranian opposition. And so that brings up, I'm done doing the same patterns that are not working out for what I value, for what I want, because Scorpio and Taurus are dealing with our wants and our needs in the physical manifestation. This is manifesting energy. We have Mercury here that's at 28 degrees of Libra, and it's in sextile to Venus on its last day in Sag before it comes into Capricorn for 5 months. Because we're getting that Venus in Capricorn that's going to be there for 5 months in retrograde in December. And the last time we had a Venus retrograde in Capricorn was the end of 2013, December 2013 through January of 2014. And then it takes a while to get out. We're not going to see Venus come out of Capricorn until it meets with Mars at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which that's at 2022 after the nodes are going to change into, actually, ironically enough, Venus ruled North Node, Taurus. But we're still in a North Node in Gemini here till January, late January 2022. And so we really need to pay attention to, these are times to change our environment. But more importantly, this is the last bit of weighing out here on this new moon about relationships, connections. We got Juno with Venus here. There's definitely this moment here of looking wider, but at the same time with the South Node being here, what can actually be changed more instantly? Because this is big pivots. And the big pivots are, why are we empty? Why are we not fulfilling our desires? Or why are we sitting with the things in life or continuing to stay committed to energies that are lifeless or that are not bringing us our life itself, our desires? We have to make a pivot now, because what are you doing? The same pattern has continued on of you overcalculating and you staying in kind of this weird frozen state, this mental state, and we want our emotions deeper and back. And this is where we got to go into our truth as deep as we can of what we really like and what we really don't like. And that's hard because the fear of the future is an overcalculation. The fear of what choices we make right now are only based off overcalculating everything. And so you can look at this whole year and see why this world is so weird, because everybody's overcalculating everything. Everybody's overthinking it. Everybody's trying to think of how well the future is going to go. But Scorpio's thinking about how right now it's going to receive what feels truth and what feels raw and what feels authentic. And because now that Mars is now in Scorpio and Saturn is in, of course, Aquarius, the ancient rulers are in square. So we're going to have to get rid of my chicken scratch here. There we go. So there's that Mars there at 3 degrees of Scorpio. And so it's a fast Mars too. It's doing its fastest speed. You can't get Mars to go any faster. Okay. 40. That is fast. 40 minutes a day. Woo. So it's very fast and it's coming into that square with Saturn, and Mercury is right behind it, out of shadow now after so much hesitation. It's still here. I mean, it's almost like, is Mercury ever going to get out of Libra? You know, there's been so much weighing out. It's made the squares of Pluto. It's made a lot of weird quincunxes. It's made a lot of weird transits. But you know what? Today, it's even making another weird one. Not only with the sextile with Venus, which actually it likes because Mercury's in Libra, and that's Libra. You know, Venus is the home of Libra. But it's making a yod, and it's not exactly tight. Tomorrow's yod will be even tighter. But it is making a yod to that north node. And what's interesting with that is because Venus is coming into alignment to come to 0 Capricorn, where it will make a quincunx to the north node. So we're getting a yod. And this yod is on the north node, and Lilith is sitting on that north node. And so this is a new moon that's not only shaking and rattling things, but mainly it's saying it's time to advance in a different way, to bring the life that I want and to manifest the life that I want. But I've got to know what I want, and I've got to have to be more spontaneous, and I'm going to have to put and realize that maybe I should trust a little bit more in the tools that I have as a human being instead of over-calculating it all. Because at the end of the day, what I'm going to show you in this new moon is not only is it, of course, the radical changes of needing of desire and emotion and truth and connection, but also at the same time, it's about realizing the power within you. And it's about that power now has not been in alignment. It's been in an over-calculating alignment. It's been thinking about the future, but not actually getting there, right? It's a calculator. You've been in a calculator, and then the number one thing is scapegoats and excuses for the things that you really want or the things that you don't want that you stay in. And staying in this frozen state. And this Mars, this new moon in Scorpio is like not going to happen anymore. And I'm going to give you the proof right now that I don't give a crap that Saturn's in Aquarius in its ancient home sign with Jupiter. I'm going to show you right now how the nodes are playing into this. Not only in a yod, that means this is God pointing at it's time to change your life. Mutable sign, mutation. You've got to mutate your life. You've got to find not only the curiosity, but you've got to find the truth of the life that you really want. And that's only by actually doing it or actually stepping into it. You can't be afraid anymore. You can't be sitting on the fence about this stuff anymore. You have to mutate this to find the deeper truth and to find the feelings, because you know what? You've got to bring life back to your life. You cannot live in this icy, weird place. And, you know, it's even more interesting. I was showing people on Deep Astrology, actually, tonight, and I'll show all of you. This is stuff you miss every week on High Vibe. Let's go to that new moon today on the 4th. Let's get back out. I was way inside. I was out there. So here's this new moon happening, okay? So you can see there's the moon right in front of the sun. But is that Uranus? Yeah, that's Uranus exactly behind the Earth. Now, why is this so interesting? Uranus has X flares. We've been in a lot of solar flare activity. We just had some X flares. We had just some more recently that are hitting on this new moon. So the unpredictability is high. But also in 2021, we finally found out that Uranus X flares, and it X flares energy from like when the sun's solar flaring, that it flares back flares. We're in the middle of two energies that flare. And what does Aquarius and Leo rule, right? What are they ruled by? The sun and Uranus. And the Earth is right in the middle of it with a new moon. We are in the middle of a magnetized, radical time to make extreme radical change about the way that this world is going. And it's going to take tenacity, and it's going to take you stop sitting on the fence about over-calculating or worried about what other people think, and get to your truth, get to what you want. And it is so unpredictable. We are entering eclipse energy because 2 weeks from now, a lunar eclipse in Taurus. A month from now, a solar eclipse in Sag. But that lunar eclipse in Taurus that's in 2 weeks is going to start activating this new Taurus Scorpio paradigm, even this new moon. And so it's about having the actual, not only the surface stuff of life, but the emotional connection to it all. And that's been missing. It's almost like, you know, no connection to this microphone. You know, it's not like I'm like, yeah, I really like this microphone. It's just like we have been just in a calculator and not even emotionally charged up about the calculator. And so I think that it's important to know that not only is this shocking the earth literally, and of course you can talk about earthquakes, you can talk about the solar flares, we can talk about all that stuff, but I'm trying to get to the core collective conscious right now for all of us, right? That we are all needing to make the greatest pivot as a humanity out of the calculator, out of worrying about the future so much, and face the deep fears and get back to the core of who we are. Get back to the rawness. Get back to the real, because everything we're seeing in the world is all a calculation. It's not even real, really. It's a calculation. Every calculation that you've been seeing in the last almost 2 years has been what could happen. And then when you look at the numbers after, it's like nowhere near what was always feared upon. Okay? Let's be real. That's just truth. And then the numbers they tell you that are going to be really good don't go that way. How ironic. So that's pretty wild in itself. But why do I build the case that you have to take action now, even though we are in a square to Saturn with that new moon? Because that new moon is just finished with the sun to a square to Saturn, but on Halloween. So, but Mars is with Mercury starting tomorrow. And Venus then comes into Capricorn for 5 months. And what's interesting is they're yachting the North Node, and the dispositor of the North Node is Gemini, right? So Mercury is the dispositor. And Mercury being with Mars, and Mars being in its home sign, and Mars being at its fastest speed, right? Where it's going to be squaring Saturn, that's only come 1 degree off of where it's stationed direct. And it's with Jupiter, which is the South Node's dispositor, because South Node is in Sag. Of course, if you watch Deep Astrology, I'll show you when they square on Tuesday after this new moon, Mars is going to win with Mercury. Mars, Mercury, and the Sun are going to beat out this Saturn and this Jupiter and Aquarius. And nothing has been able to take down Saturn this whole time. Not even the Mars retrograde in Aries that was at the fall of 2020, right? Last year. At this time, October, November, up into December, Mars was retrograde in Aries and it was squaring Saturn that was in Capricorn. And you would think that that could take it down, but Mars never got to its full speed in the square to Saturn. And Saturn had Pluto with it and Jupiter. But when the node shifted in May of 2020, right, that South Node with Jupiter didn't make it as strong, and it still doesn't make it as strong. And so we have put ourselves in these beliefs into worrying about what other people's beliefs are about us, about the society, the world has all come into this crazy belief system that does not work. And Saturn is trying to, has been over. This is what's weird. Saturn is the only planet that gets a long reign. And that's why the sun and Saturn are at odds, right? Because the sun every year comes home and is like, well, hell yeah, not every planet can do that. Like, except Mercury, the sun, the moon, and those are the three that you get, that you always can rely upon. That's why what's on both sides of Leo and Cancer? Gemini and Virgo, okay? But opposing all that is Capricorn and Aquarius. So Saturn gets its reign throughout all of Capricorn and then out of Aquarius, and it's been overhyped, right? It's had Jupiter and Pluto, and it had Saturn with Pluto, right? And Mercury. It even controlled Mercury on January 12th of 2020. This is finally the new moon that's got something to say from the people with Uranus opposing it. People are about to get to their real raw truth on this new moon. Not only in their personal lives, because when people finally get back to who they really are, what their desires are, and stand in their power, no longer is that Saturn that's been home longer. So you have been feeling the Saturn energy more than ever because of not only 2020, but December 21st, 2017, Saturn's been in Capricorn. And then it went into Aquarius here and had a Jupiter conjunction, had a Pluto conjunction, had all these conjunctions. Jupiter, Pluto even met in Capricorn while Saturn was there. Like, Saturn has not had and it's been with Jupiter again in Aquarius. But this is the first moment. The first moment. We have the battle of the malefics in the middle of this new moon. And with Uranus in opposition to this new moon, it's like this is where individuals that are part of a collective have to realize what is humanity worth and stop going off this world view, because South Node and Sag with a Jupiter and Aquarius, I'm sorry, with Saturn there is a controlled perspective that has been put into you for years. This is where we all have to go into our inner truth. I've never loved Scorpio more than ever than this new moon. It's also Saturn squaring the positions where Saturn was in 2013 when it had just arrived on October 6th of 2012 and then went retrograde at the beginning of 2013 in Scorpio. So this is a Saturn square from that point. But also, this is a Mars-Saturn 3/4 square that is beginning from the Mars and Saturn conjunction that happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Just like Jupiter-Saturn happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius, Mars and Saturn after that. And so this has been where we have not seen Mars in Scorpio throughout this whole pandemic. And now it's ready to reap its truth, and it's got more power. It's got Mercury that's coming with it, and it's with the sun and a new moon, and it's opposed Uranus, and it's saying, no more am I going to live in this kind of false, fake crap. It's time for me to pivot, and I'm not going to overcalculate. I'm going to live my better life. I'm going to have that better life. And this Mercury in sextile to Venus, it's been really going and focusing on, what do I really want? What stories are not working? What is not connecting? What am I so attached to that makes me feel good, but it doesn't make me feel good anymore? What have I believed that this is the best way to do it when it's not working? Everything that's not working, everything that you keep trying to connect to that's keeping you feeling in disconnection, time to go. Because this is the most radical ride in the universe that's finally showed up for you in your life to make a big change. But I will say this over this next month. Because it's in opposition to Uranus, because it's in square to Jupiter, Saturn midpoint, and because there's all this big battle of the two malefics, Mars and Saturn squaring, the 3/4 square from the Mars-Saturn conjunction that was at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which, by the way, Mars and Venus are going to meet there after this Venus retrograde at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Way too much stuff going to 0 degree Aquarius in conjunction. The people are going to win at the end of the day. The people are, but the only way the people are going to win is getting into the truth in themselves and the power back within yourself, because a collective that is not powerful within itself, remember that Uranus is exalted in Scorpio. In Taurus, it's at fall. We went through World War II there. We saw all the craziness of Uranus and Taurus. Are we going to go replay that? That's what the big question on this new moon is. We can go into all the maybe earthquake. Oh, yeah, you got to make a big change. Okay, yeah. Let's get into some real history and some real shit here. Are we going to, because after 15 degrees of Taurus, go look at history books, when Uranus crosses to halfway through Taurus, it gets crazy. You think shortages are bad? You think, seeing the weird stuff we've been seeing over the last year is bad? This is nothing. But this is our choice as humanity, to either be honest and to be true and to stop playing the false game. Stop playing the false world. It's a South Node in Sag. Jupiter is in Aquarius, and it is controlling people with Saturn there. We have never, as a collective that could be alive right now on this planet, I mean, there's past lives, but I'm just trying to tell you that no, Jupiter and Saturn at 0 degree Aquarius, we are still in that energy from December 21st of 2020. And I'm sorry to say that the fact that this whole time, especially, this whole time, with the nodes that have been in Gemini and Sag, with the North Node in Gemini, we need to follow Mercury. We need to stop following Jupiter, because people are getting lost in this Jupiter realm, and people are just getting lost into beliefs and lost into this way that everybody should be. And it's not working anymore. And it hasn't worked. And so Scorpio is coming along to be like, hey, let's get back to the truth. Let's get to what you really want in your life. And that's where your power is. That's where you thrive. That's where you survive. Scorpio survival. Mars in Scorpio is the survivor. It is not afraid to walk down a crazy street. Nobody messes with a Mars Scorpio energy down any crazy street. You know why? Because they know they can feel that person's in their strength, their power, and their determination, and they know exactly where to penetrate in life. This is where have you been so lost in your own calculations and afraid of fears and being so disconnected and going to the same pattern non-stop that's not getting you to feel better and it's not giving you anything. It's making you be like, why am I in this loop? It's because you're too afraid to make the big change now and the big pivot in your life to allow this amazing energy to come in, which is you coming back to yourself. Your little metaverse version of yourself, how's that been going? Because it hasn't been going good. I guarantee you, based off the astrology, I guarantee you based off this chart and what's been going on, that your little metaverse that you've created is not going well. And every connection, whether it's friendships, whether it's love, whether it's all about people, relationships, tribes, connection, and this worldview that has been very skewed and very controlled by Saturn and Pluto over this last less than 2 years. And that South Node in Sag is an illusion. This is before we come into the eclipses here, starting in 2 weeks. This is your moment to make your breakthrough. And this is the world to make the breakthrough and to look. Are we really going to go into Uranus, into this next half of Taurus, which was when Germany started doing crazy things and invading countries and Holocaust and all these crazy things happen with the world shortages. Are we really going to go there? Or are the people going to really start to step into their power of individual knowing what you want in your life and not starving yourself because you're afraid of living? This is Mars square Saturn in Aquarius. This is where the people have forgotten who they are and what makes you feel alive. It's not a program. It's life itself. It's the power to live. It's the power to live that allows you to live. Everybody's afraid right now. It don't matter if you got that thing or not. I'm going to say that's the truth. You know what it is? It's whether or not inside you were living alive or not. That's the secret to this world. That's the secret to this universe. That's the secret to this moment. That if you're going to overcalculate and be like, well, I got it, or I didn't get it, so I'm not going to, that argument right now is not working. The argument that you'll find that have common threads between both people who have it and don't have it is they all don't feel alive. The people who don't have it don't feel alive fully, and the people that do have it don't feel alive fully. Even with people who got it, who got their world back and can go here, and even the people who don't have it, who were never afraid, who were living their whole world the whole time, still have an emptiness that they need to find. So that's the one thread we can find as a collective right now, to find it common and to realize that the only thing that will change a collective is the individuals finding their power, and that's what this is. And if you don't realize how powerful this new moon is with Venus coming into Capricorn for 5 months, that's Saturn-based. We're going to have to make big decisions. We're going to have to understand that the people that we choose in our life, the tribes, the groups, the friends, the people are with us to help us get to where we need to go in alignment. With Mercury coming into Scorpio to sextile Venus the day after this new moon to Yod to that North Node. With Mars going to square Saturn with Mercury on it on Tuesday. I'm here to tell you right now, this is your chance in your life to make the big change. I know you can feel it. I'm not trying to get all Tony Robbins on you. I'm just trying to be the Leo King as I've always been and make this about the collective and make this about your best chance to make you feel not only alive again, but to feel the truth within you and to feel the divine within you. That it's the biggest test of whether or not you're going to hold yourself back. You're going to continue staying and making scapegoats. I can't because I have this, and I can't because I have that, and I can't because, and if you're worried because, oh, if I do this, what will that person think? Or maybe that person won't happen. This is going to be the most unpredictable time of all time. Uranus and Taurus, I've been saying for years already, is the most unstable world. We'll get this. With all this Aquarius and square to this new moon, an exact opposition from Uranus. Hate to tell you, but if you're planning for the future, like, well, in 4 weeks, yeah, that'll work out. Too many things over the next day could just come in and change that whole line. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be connecting with that person in 3 weeks. That person could meet somebody else and boom, they're over there going that. They found their passion. Bye. So you need to live your life now to make the change into everything, especially with this yod to the North Node, especially with all this energy that's all about making change and making the best changes. And for us to find common threads and excitement and curiosity instead of living in the, let me see, who's the eldest person in the room who has the best knowledge, who has the most amount, who's been on the calculator for all this time. How that has not been working. Jupiter and Aquarius with the South Node and Sag. Won't work. Calculator's not going to work. Calculator's not going to fix the world, by the way. Computers aren't going to fix the world, and the metaverse is not going to fix the world. You and your life and your passions and you feeling again and you being a human being and coming back into aliveness and finding what makes you alive and radically shifting the paradigm by you radically shifting your life and getting out of a world that has become like a program is everything. This is your escape. This is the last thing I'll say about it, and then we'll pull the cards. This is your escape. And we can all come together without having to fucking blast each other about politics, blast each other about views on anything, but realize that we have that one thing in common, that common thread, which is we are all humans and we are all alive and we are all hungry for life again within our lives and our true desires and our true needs. This is your portal out. Uranus is breaking you out of your prison. Scorpio Mars is here to fight for you with Mercury, the dispositor of the North Node, with Lilith now, but it's going to come back into Taurus when that happens. But I'm here to tell you that. It's about your local environment, the excitement, the curiosity. This is about spontaneous change. This is not about planning. The squares to Saturn, sure. Make sure that you're not making choices about things that are the same patterns that you continue to do. That they're new patterns, that they're new things, that they're new, exciting parts of yourself that are going to find a way to connect instead of always having something feel like it's not aligned or it's missing. Anything that's not speaking from that authentic energy, that truth, that rawness, it's not real. How come we see in the media on all sides of all aisles right now, in all governments all over the place, dodging questions, won't answer the questions? This is North Node Gemini. We need to get answers to questions. How come there's so many reports, so many things coming out that aren't being shown? It's not real. It's not authentic. Can you do that now? We have been in a collective that is just so afraid to step into its power of its individual self, and that's what the biggest spell has been. And this is your way out, to actually bring that to your physical reality and make it exciting and bring the collective to a place. We don't need to go repeat World War II, Uranus, Taurus. We really don't. We don't need to go repeat Civil War, Uranus, Taurus, Neptune, Pisces, the build up to that. We really do not need to go do that in the 1850s. But if everybody wants to be afraid of the future and be afraid of connection and be afraid of saying, I don't want to do this in my life anymore, and I want to do this instead. I want to feel this. I don't care anymore what anybody thinks. I'm going to go do what this is feeling connected with. I don't want to say problem solved, but big portion of it solved. And this is where this month could really radically change the world for the better. And we have to believe in that by showing up. This is about showing up. It's about showing up within yourself, showing up within your passion, showing up within the courage, and to not be afraid of the blocks even within you, because the deepest part is the blocks within you. The blocks within you from the connection that you really want to living your life without having to overcalculate, without having to oversee what's going to happen in the next 2 days. That's the thrill. Where's your edge? Your edge has been missing. And it's the only thing of why I can explain why so many people on both sides of this crazy argument in the world don't understand the hysteria over things that are not edgy at all. Like, I remember hysteria at least over like some exciting things in life, but the fact that we are in such a bland and boring program and people are having hysteria over these most boring things. This is the most boring year and a half of all time. It's been sold to you as the scariest thing. It's been sold to you as the most crazy thing. But really, it's created numbness in you. It's created an emptiness. It's created a void. And that void and what they took away from you was your life. Your life. Your liveliness. The energy within that creates and brings it all together is Scorpio. And, you know, Scorpio is the doorway from this life to the other life, right? There's something to say about that mysteriousness to Scorpio. This is your choice on whether you want to live or you don't want to be here. And all that is based upon whether you got the shot or you didn't get the shot. It's not about that. It's not about whatever fear that they're showing you there. It's about whether or not you are ready to get what you really want in your life. Speak up for what you want in your life. Speak your truth. Speak the things you want in your life. You got to ask to receive. You got to show up to get and to embody it now. And to stop blocking yourself and stop creating every scapegoat. I've got this. I've got that. I don't have this good. Da-da-da. All your own blocks. All your own excuses. All just scapegoat after scapegoat after scapegoat after scapegoat after scapegoat after scapegoat from you because you're afraid of commitment to yourself and to the outer things that you truly want to have fully. And the stuff that you already have made commitments to, if they're not giving you passion anymore, is that really a commitment anymore? Especially in relationships and, you know, like what still gives you life? This still gives me life. Gosh, and I've been doing this over a Jupiter transit. So, what gives you life? But the stuff that, you know, gives you life, if that's all it is, it's like the pattern that we need to break is there's been so much that we've all had to go through a spiritual cleanse and a timeout and clear all the stuff that wasn't working. This is your breakout moment to finally live your life and build and create and to connect with things that are your future, that are going to be radically exciting and radically spontaneous and radically different. That's just how it works. Things are going to come in, things are going to come out. The world's going to shake a little. This is going to happen, and it's going to be. And we've been in this. If you're sensitive, the last 2.5 months was your time. If you're not a sensitive person, meaning that you don't get weird and scared when the world gets intense, this is your time. But for you, all the sensitive people out there, you had your nice fun 2.5 months. This new moon, no more. No more of this just sitting on the fence. No more Humpty Dumpties. No more sitting around and being afraid. You know, the fact that Alice in Wonderland is more courageous to go down a hole to see what magic is down there than the world today, most of the world, blows my mind. Blows my mind. You think she's checking about what she got before she goes down that hole? No, she left talking to her mother in a black dress, very Saturnian, reading a book that had nothing to do with anything that she wanted to deal with in life, and went down that hole with her curiosity. If you can't do that in your life right now and you're too afraid, but the mom in the black dress is telling me I gotta listen to this piece of crap book, this weird way of how life should be, and you would never see Alice from Alice in Wonderland. You would never see her smile. You would never see her wonder. She would lose that and be indoctrinated, as Pink Floyd showed us, for many years in the wall. Sorry, I'm going off today. Card for this new moon. I'll see you for Spirits Dance music tonight. Ace of Cups upright. This is awesome. This is a new doorway to the emotional energy that we want to have. This is what I've been saying. Although I'm using the Nightmare Before Christmas deck, but this was Ace of Potions. But this is a new start. This is a new door opening for you. This is an amazing new, God, it's like the emotions are just pouring down. It's like a complete, huge waterfall just coming down. Just, okay, I'm ready. Drench me in that shit. We got a 5 of Pentacles reverse. It's time to get over the victim story of us creating our own, just being stuck. It reminds me of Forrest Gump, right? With Lieutenant Dan. It's Lieutenant Dan who's just the whole time so upset. But when he finds that life and he finds that emotion, he jumps out of the boat and he starts swimming and freaking the rainbows appear. Oh, I get you with the Lieutenant Dan. Challenge that we got here is the 10 of Swords in reverse. Oh, you know how to get out of this pattern, but why is it so hard for you to just... I'm done with this pattern. I'm done with redoing the same bullshit that just keeps repeating, and I see it. The challenge with this reversal is that you understand, but you can't be afraid because the gift always comes after the challenge. So if you face this moment right now and go, I'm done with these patterns. I'm done with the patterns, especially the world. And I'm done with me connecting to that world and being in this stupid pattern and being in this pattern that's leaving me just sitting in my head and going, what the fuck am I doing? The ultimate gift will come. Our overall card that we got here is the Magician, and we got it upright. This is your time for magic. This Ace of Cups, letting go of this victim story, letting go of the stupid patterns that we've been through. And really being connected with the divine, right? Because remember, as a human being, we are the conduit from the divine and this earth. We are that beautiful conduit, that beautiful energy that energizes in a soul. That's what a magician is, that it understands that. It understands all the parts of tarot, all the parts of who we are, the elements, and it connects with that, and it puts it seriously. It always holds that magic rod, right? That rod that connects us to create the magic in our life by being connected. This brings together all the fixed energies, right? And our spiritual advice card. Strength reversed. Woo! Don't forget you have the power and the strength to get through this. Spiritual advice is to stop trying too hard in the wrong directions. Stop giving strength to places that are not going to show up. Stop trying too hard to show strength and when you can be vulnerable and real and be like, you know what? I'm not happy, and this is what's going to make me happy. That's real strength. Real strength is vulnerability. Real strength is actually being real itself. You know, this is not about being that false strength. Like, you know, I'm going to keep supporting the false story that's astrologically got no proof. There's no proof that any of it and anything that we're being told is actually true. Quite the opposite. I'd go to bmj.com right now and look at the medical journals and just see what just came out. Been around since 1840. Top article. Whistleblower. That's all I'll say on that. There's going to be way too much that's going to start to be exposed here. And I've been warning people of a shattered reality for years, and especially over this last year. And I have been castrated. Everybody has mocked me. People say, oh, don't be associated with the Leo King. Don't do all this. I'm just letting you know, I don't even know how it's going to go down, but the ultimate truth is about to come out. And it's going to be a process, but the ultimate truth is the truth within yourself and whether or not you can live that in your own life, in your personal life, in your own environment, and change your environment and change your schedule and change the way that you live in this reality and live life again. And I truly care about you. I don't do this because I get off on it or some sort of thing. I have put the illuminating the collective consciousness first for a decade plus. And I have showed up every freaking day. And I you know, it's like the fact that I'm dealing with, of course, being the Leo and the Leo rising and all the Leo shit that I got with these huge oppositions. Jupiter, Saturn did oppose my sun at 0 Leo when it was at 0 Aquarius. Mars and Saturn already did oppose my sun. And now I got even more 0 degree stuff going to oppose it. Of course, the whole world's going to be opposed me and put me down. And you know what? All those out there that do that, continue. But I'm coming with always the collective at my heart first and at my truth first. And that's why I put out that video last week to let you know, like, I'm infallible like we all are. I'm infallible like we all are. I'm not infallible. I'm not perfect. I've gone through a lot. But my heart and where I'm at and where this is at, and do it yourself. Like, do the astrology. Look at it. Channel that. Connect with your life again and feel life again. Turn off the noise of what you've been told the world is right now. And come back to yourself and come back to the treasures that are deep and buried within you that you have not been given access to because you've chosen not to access them. You've been afraid to access them. And you'll understand everything that I've been saying for the warnings that I've put out, the predictions that have all come true. And I don't care about predictions. All I care about right now is this moment, this new moon, and this new intention for all of us as a collective to fulfill our needs, our wants, our desires, and our passions, and stop overcalculating and stop being afraid to pivot into a world that looks different. And if you think that the incomprehensible or that the impossible won't happen, we're living in a world where if I would have told you 2 years ago, they're going to shut down your business and then they're going to, all of it, right? Like you would have just been, nah. Well, what makes you think that they won't go farther? And what will stop that isn't all this stuff that everybody's trying to figure out in the world. It's the astrology showing us that when we live in our passions and we live in our truth and we live in our rawness and we live in our realness, and we need to be real back. Like, why are people so afraid to speak their truth? What do you think Mercury and Mars are about to do in Scorpio? Square Saturn. They're going to try and fucking... This Saturn has... I hate to say it. It's been naughty. This Saturn has been naughty. It's had it was delusional. It was a Saturn in Capricorn with Jupiter and Pluto, with not only Saturn Pluto conjunct, but Jupiter Pluto conjunct, Jupiter Saturn conjunct with South Node Capricorn energy. It was delusional. And then it went South Node into Sag with a Jupiter that was making it even bigger delusions. It's gone out of control. And this Mars, this Mercury, this Sun in Scorpio, this new moon opposed to Uranus is about to take for the first time, and you can do all the astrological data you want. I'm going to be the only astrologer that tells you that this is the moment. This is the week where finally Saturn's going to get his ass handed to him by looking at the essential dignities, by looking at the speed of Mars, by looking at Mercury being the dispositor of the North Node, by the South Node dispositor being with Saturn, Jupiter, and Aquarius that hasn't moved, and it's just a big old fat sack sitting there, delusional, with Saturn that's been over delusion, and he's starting to realize that it's all delusion, and oh shit, I don't have a control because I over calculated and I over believed that people would just all just sway whatever we want. Happy new moon. And I hope that you find that happiness within you, and I hope that you can find those treasures of yourself back again and bring them back into yourself and find that life that's waiting for you to live again, that spontaneousness that's waiting for you, that's just waiting for you and sitting there that you must bring in now, and that pivot that you must make, especially when it comes to being afraid of your future and especially afraid of connection. And that's what we're all missing. We're all walking around as programs and drones, and people can blame it and create anything that they want to say that it is. But as an astrologer, it's just Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius that have been delusionized. And have brought us too far away from humanity itself. But maybe that's the point of learning about humanity, is almost losing it, and almost losing all of our own passions and our own desires and our own deep things of who we are, and standing up for that in truth as a collective and as a community of all creeds and all souls. I appreciate you all. I'll see you for Spiritual Dance Music tonight. And if you always want me, I'm always on HYPERGATE.tv. I appreciate you all. See you all soon. Adios.
Initiating hypergate. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hypergate activated. The portal to illuminating the collective consciousness has finally opened.